In an age before antibiotics, before sterile gloves, before anyone even understood what bacteria were, medieval surgeons were packing open wounds with moss. It sounds reckless, almost primitive. Yet here is the surprise. Some of those patients survived infections that should have killed them. How could a clump of forest growth, gathered from damp tree trunks and shadowed bogs, succeed where sharpened steel and boiling oil often failed? Imagine a battlefield after the clash of iron, a wounded soldier carried to a dimly lit chamber. The surgeon reaches not for manufactured gauze, but for soft, fibrous sphagnum moss, cool and springy to the touch. In texts attributed to figures like Henri de Mondeville, there are references to careful wound management and cleansing practices that went beyond superstition. Moss was not random stuffing. It was selected, prepared, and applied with intent. The deeper mystery is this. Did medieval healers stumble upon a natural antiseptic centuries before science could explain it? And if they did, what else might be hidden in plain sight within the forest floor? Medieval Europe was no stranger to infection. Warfare, farming accidents, and crude surgical tools made wounds common and deadly. In medical centres such as Montpellier, surgeons began moving away from purely mystical explanations of disease and toward practical observation. They noticed patterns. Some dressings led to festering. Others seemed to slow decay. Moss, especially sphagnum gathered from peat bogs, earned a reputation for effectiveness. Monastic infirmaries and battlefield surgeons alike valued materials that were absorbent, accessible, and reusable. Unlike linen, which could harbour contamination if not thoroughly cleaned, fresh moss was abundant and often harvested from relatively clean environments. Healers also combined it with honey or wine, both known for their cleansing properties. Over generations, this practice became embedded in surgical routines. While germ theory was centuries away, empirical results guided decisions. If a dressing reduced odour, swelling, or pus, it was repeated. Moss became part of a quiet tradition of practical wound care, rooted in experience rather than theory. So, how did moss actually work? Imagine kneeling at the edge of a bog, selecting pale green sphagnum with thick, spongy strands. This was not decorative moss from a stone wall. It was a specific variety known for its extraordinary absorbency. Step 1 was harvesting it fresh, ideally from clean running water sources. Step 2 involved rinsing and gently squeezing it to remove debris. You know how a sponge traps liquid inside tiny pockets. Sphagnum does the same, but on a microscopic scale. Those pockets absorb blood and wound exudate, keeping the injury dry. A drier environment slows bacterial growth. But there is more. Sphagnum naturally produces acidic compounds that create a hostile setting for many microbes. Medieval surgeons did not know the chemistry, yet they observed the outcome. After cleaning a wound with wine or boiled water, they layered the moss directly onto the injury, then secured it with cloth. The dressing could be replaced frequently, each time drawing out moisture and contaminants. The secret was not magic. It was the combination of absorbency, mild acidity, and frequent changing that reduced infection risk. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Centuries later, during modern conflicts, sphagnum moss was again used as a surgical dressing when conventional supplies ran short. Science confirmed what medieval practitioners had observed. Its structure absorbs many times its weight in fluid, and its natural acidity inhibits bacterial growth. Today, advanced wound dressings mimic these same principles, using materials designed to maintain optimal moisture balance while preventing infection. The lesson here is resilience. When supply chains fail or resources are scarce, understanding natural materials can make the difference between life and death. Of course, modern medicine offers sterile, regulated products that are safer and more predictable. Yet the medieval example reminds us that innovation often begins with observation of nature. In survival training and wilderness medicine, knowledge of absorbent, relatively clean plant materials can still be valuable in emergencies. The key is preparation, cleanliness, and understanding limitations. Medieval surgeons worked within constraints, refining what they had. Their ingenuity echoes in every modern sterile pad and antimicrobial dressing. The moss dressing of medieval surgeons challenges our assumptions about the past. We imagine ignorance, yet we find experimentation. We expect superstition, yet we uncover practical adaptation. In the quiet forests and mist-covered bogs of Europe, a humble plant became an ally against one of humanity's most persistent enemies, infection. Picture that wounded soldier once more, the cool moss pressed against torn flesh, buying precious time for the body to heal. It was not a miracle cure. Many still perished, but some survived because someone paid attention to what worked. That is the enduring lesson. Knowledge does not always arrive in laboratories. Sometimes it grows underfoot, waiting for careful hands and curious minds. As we advance into an age of biotechnology and synthetic medicine, remembering these natural precedents grounds us. The past whispers that observation, adaptation, and respect for the environment are timeless tools. If this glimpse into forgotten surgical wisdom changed how you see medieval medicine, continue exploring, because history often hides its most powerful remedies in the most unexpected places. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned